mopping the floor.
Right.
Yeah, it was all a bunch of crappers, all in one room with no partitions whatsoever. So there were places that were like that.
Okay. Leading up this whole point, leading up to, and when we were in the Air Force, you all got in a line. You were all naked in a line, waiting, and you walked from the first shower, and as you hit the water, the first shower, you started to soap up and lather up, and you had to walk through all.
Oh, I thought that was only the Marines that did that.
All 20 shower heads, and by the end,
we used to call that a Marine Corps shower.
Right. By the end, you had to keep walking. They screamed at you to like walk
you had
fast.
To keep walking, yeah.
And by the end, if all the soap wasn't off of you, too bad.
Right. There were people that walked out of there covered in soap.
Yes.
Yep.
At least the first couple of days they did. And
so
then
I
they learned
didn't
how to
know
do it
that
right.
the Air Force did that. I thought that was only a Marine thing.
See, us fly boys, we're tough.
For us, it depended on whether we were out of time and we needed a shower. If we were out of time, we had 70 people in our platoon. They would announce that we were doing a Marine Corps shower, which is where all 70 of us got in a single file line and walked in one door under every single, just like you just described. And that we would have some people who would do it at the end, get their own shower at the end. They had to stand in the shower the whole time to squirt some soap on you. Yeah. And you had to lather up as you were going through. And it literally, you walk, maybe we had like 10 to 15
something
heads.
like that. Yeah.
And we had to walk under each one of them quickly. And so you could do the entire platoon in like 3-4 minutes.
It is shocking how fast you could shower
70 people for in 3-4 minutes. But we only did that when we were slow and we were out of time.
We did that, I think, the first few days. But then after that, because we have the weekends off in boot camp.
That's a joke that's not true. I believed it.
It sort of is.
I believed it.
It sort of is.
See, I was in the Marines, and when we looked at flyboys in the Air Force,
a little soft.
We were like, these guys are so soft. Yeah. So when my cousin,
my brother,
the other cousin, he was also in the Air Force. When he told me we had weekends off, and he was joking with me. He was joking. I believed it for years. For years, I believed it. Because it was very believable for a Marine. Very believable. So just saying.
Okay, so now this person who has female parts walks into the high school, because a lot of times the bathroom and the locker room, especially around our gym area, is one and the same. Like you'll walk past the urinals and the toilets and then the lockers, and it was all pretty much wide open in the boys' locker room at Oak Hills. It really was. It was open.
Okay.
And
I believe
and walking past the showers to get to the toilet, there's no curtain on that shower. There's no curtain there.
So annoying.
Okay, so this person with female parts is going to do what? She's going to use the bathroom, and after gym, does she shower in the boys' bathroom?
You would think that if she needs a shower, she's going to do it in the boys' locker room, because that's what
she identifies as.
Well, it was agreed upon by not only what you just said. Her peers would look at her and say, that looks kind of like a boy. And the state, let's say North Carolina,
right,
comes down with the ruling. Oh, I'm sorry, not North Carolina. Another state.
It has to be another state.
Another state. Not North Carolina. Another state would say, hey, if she identifies as a boy, she will use the boys' restroom. Now, what Trump says is that Caitlyn Jenner, this is actually what he said. I don't know if you have the soundbite or not, but it's not important. It's really simple.
Oh, I do have it.
You want to play it?
On the Today Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, this is an important soundbite to play because, this is a very controversial statement, and the Cruz people have been blowing up on it.
She's out of Virginia. That's the girl that kind of looks like a
Oh, you're showing me the picture of the woman.
It looks like a husky boy.
Yeah, it looks like if she were to tell me that she was a boy and she was dressed like she normally dresses, I would probably say, who am I to deny that?
Right. So, okay, so Trump on the Today Show, LGBT.
I'll just read it as a quote on a hot button issue here. Mr. Trump, please be specific. Tell us your views on LGBT, how you plan to be inclusive as president. Speak about North Carolina bathroom law in particular.
Oh, I had a feeling that question was going to come up. I will tell you. Well, look, North Carolina did something that was very strong. and they're paying a big price, and there's a lot of problems. And I heard one of the best answers I heard was from a commentator yesterday saying, leave it the way it is right now. There have been very few problems. Leave it the way it is. North Carolina, what they're going through with all of the business that's leaving and all of the strife, and that's on both sides. You leave it the way it is. There have been very few complaints the way it is. People go, they use the bathroom that they feel is appropriate. There has been so little trouble. And the problem with what happened in North Carolina is the strife and the economic punishment that they're taking. So I would say that's probably the best.
Do you have any transgender people working in your organization?
I don't know.
No,
I really
good
don't
answer.
know. I probably do.
Great answer.
So if Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses?
That is correct.
Okay.
Different issue, also a social issue.
You know, there's a big move to create new bathrooms. Problem with that is for transgender, that would be first of all, I think that would be discriminatory.
Bingo!
It would be unbelievably expensive for businesses and for the country. Leave it the way it is.
Exactly. Okay, so we did a thought experiment, and we said, what would it be like if this all just went nationwide, where all businesses were required to have a boys or a men's, a women's, and a transgender bathroom?
Let me tell you how fast that thought experiment went south.
Yeah, I mean, do the thought experiment. Let's walk through it. Close your eyes and imagine a world where this is what the bathrooms were like.
Hold on. You put yourself at about 17, 18, 19-year-old boy.
Or 20s, whatever. Some frat boy or whatever.
So, it could be that.
Oh, whatever. So, or one of these people that you see on campus.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, one of those people.
One of those. What do you mean by those people?
Well, you know.
Okay, so you're in a public place, and there's lots of people around. Let's say a mall. Okay, lots of young people at malls.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're looking at the bathroom. You know, there's always bathrooms near the food courts. There's like all these people eating, maybe hundreds and hundreds of people, during lunchtime eating. And you see people walking in and out of the boys and people walking in and out of the girls. And then you see somebody who is clearly identifiable as either a woman or a man based on what they look like. But they don't go in the men's and they don't go in the women's.
They go in the one with the T on it.
Or whatever.
For tranny.
For tranny or whatever. All of a sudden, people will be like, oh, I didn't know that guy that looks exactly like Caitlyn Jenner was not a woman.
Right.
Apparently, that person has some cash and prizes.
Yeah, they've been outed.
You just outed yourself by walking. Let me tell you something. Trans people do not want to be outed.
Oh, and speaking about that, it's a very, very key word I think a lot of Cruz people and Ted Cruz himself are completely missing. This fraction of people, if you will, are minuscule nationwide. It's less than 0.5% of people that are going through a change.
Oh,
it's
a tiny percent.
so small.
And let me ask you this.
Hold on. Even in your own hometown, listening here, worldwide, how many trannies have you come across that you knew
that you could identify?
Right. It's so minuscule. Okay. Carrie said a very important point that Cruz is completely missing. People. These are people we're talking about. People with, and a lot of psychologists, very high-level psychologists have called people with some very unstable mental issues, but they're people they're people. Bring them in the fold and work with them.
Yeah, I mean, if you got somebody that just demands to go through the whole procedure, the chop-a-dictomy, and the add a boob-to-me, or whatever they want to call it, and, nice, beautiful, flowing long hair, the makeup, dress, and all that kind of stuff, just let them go to the girls' bathroom.
And something else, too. We are only talking about men going through the change.
Yeah, what about
Pull the brake, folks.
Yeah, the flannel.
Look at, well, not only the flannel, but what about
who are you thinking about?
Chaz Bono?
Was that a boy?
Cher Bono's
daughter who became a man.
Now Chaz. And she was on the radio like 5 years ago being interviewed about her change, and they went a full board. They said, "So are you completely through the change?" And she's like, "Well, right now technology does not provide a fully functional unit like a man, but when that day comes, I will obtain one."
Now, I've seen a lot of them who have gone through the hormone therapy to a point where they can easily grow a beard.
Oh, she does. Chaz can do that.
Okay.
Oh, Chaz is definitely a man.
So here's my point, and I don't know if, you could tell me if you agree with me or not, Brian. If you can pull it off to where anybody in public who doesn't know you would say, yeah, that's a man. Yeah, that's a woman. Even though they're the opposite or they were born opposite, then if they could pull it off, whatever. And Brian, here's the big point.
That's a dude. That's Chaz.
Oh, yeah, that
with
looks
a
like
beard.
a dude. Yeah, with a beard and everything. So Brian showed me the picture of Chaz Bono.
It's kind of like a
totally a beard.
It's kind of like a You know what that looks like? Looks like a white Hispanic. That looks like old boy from Florida.
Oh, that's right. He looks exactly like Zimmerman.
That looks like George Zimmerman right there.
Yeah. So Chaz Bono, who was born a woman, looks like George Zimmerman. And if George Zimmerman or Chaz Bono walked into the bathroom I was in a public place, I wouldn't think a thing about it. Why do we have to out people?
That's the before and after.
Oh, he's showing me what Chaz looked like before she became he. And she looks like a very attractive girl, actually.
In her teenage years, she was gorgeous. Then she gets into her 20s. She starts getting a lot of weight. And then
zips off the hair.
Yep, zips off and goes to a full change.
Wow.
And now, suit and tie, that's a dude.
Yeah, I think that this issue. Now, this is a little bit off the subject, but there are people, Trump supporters, that we follow on the YouTubes.
That's Chaz with no shirt on.
Oh, wow. Now, see, that's amazing. Because there's a picture of Chaz, born a woman, an adult now, with his/her shirt off. Right. You would never think that was not a man. You would never. Right. It looks like you would never think that was not a man.
Right.
Never. Okay. So lost my train of thought for a second there, but
that was pretty scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very well done transition.
So in North Carolina, if Chaz Bono goes to North Carolina, he must use the women's restroom.
They would look at him and say,
scream,
"Get out!" They would want to call the cops.
They would definitely call the cops.
I'll tell you what. That's the video that needs to happen. Chaz needs to videotape himself or take pictures of himself walking into a woman's restroom in North Carolina, which, by the way, he's legally bound to do at this point, and show the reaction of all the women in there.
Right.
They would be like, "What?" But now,
they'd probably be screaming.
So the law's stupid. The law's stupid. Now, what is Cruz's reaction to Trump saying, "Just let him go where they want"?
Quote from Trump. Quote.
I want to hear Cruz.
From Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz.
Quote: Donald Trump joining the PC police by allowing grown adult man, he didn't say men, he said man, and stranger in the restroom with little girls.
So why would he say "and stranger"? It's to get you to...
What about the children?
No, stranger danger.
Oh, stranger danger.
So that he's trying to get you, he's trying to elicit a response, a involuntary, natural response from parents to immediately go, "Oh, stranger danger."
Now, I want to make this perfectly clear to everyone out there listening now. We are not here at Smith Radio trying to muddy the waters. We're trying to clear
it up.
The waters, clear this up. What Cruz is doing is smearing, trying to paint a picture for the world to see, and this picture that he's painting is that Trump is he's down with pedophiles and grown bearded men going into girls' bathrooms and raping little